The school takes place in a moment in which all movements across the world are trying to comprehend very rich analyses that have come in relation to anti-rights, anti-gender, fascism, fundamentalisms that we are seeing across the globe, and in a much more organized way that we have seen historically. So the people that we bring into the school are basically leaders, organizers, but more strategists in their organizations across Southern and East Africa.
This school particularly is important because, one, we're in a space that is solely for the Pan-African, right, and the African region, which is very important because we all see and know how the right wing right now is really gaining momentum and how there's so much funding and power that's being granted to them. And their agenda is to really do away with movements such as feminist movements.
At a time like this where everything seems to be rolling back, I think it's important that we come in and think, what are we doing right and what can we continue doing right? And because at this moment everybody seems to be tired, we focus on something positive that we can build on. And I like that through the 3 days that I've been here, I've been made aware that you can actually focus on what to build and not just what to dismantle that is taking away your energy.
A school like this is important because women share experiences and the kind of work they are doing, and they are able to put it together and support each other. They also create a safe space for the women to work in, and they can be able to cascade what they have learned to the organizations they come from.
The world is in crisis and everything is change, and we don't know how to face these changes that are coming. When you are alone and you're facing all these things that happen, you feel hopeless. But in this space, I find hope, grace, and I found that people have courage to discuss everything.
This school really challenged me and gave me a deep dive of the issues that are affecting me that I usually think I know, but then it has opened my eyes, and now I know that there is a deep analysis of what is happening. It's not that top players, they are underlying issues.
Strategy continues to be a very hard thing for activists, for organizers, to think how do, even as much as I have the good analysis of what's going on, but what does it mean in terms of what I do on the day-to-day?
So in this space, I've observed a deepening of recognition of how power operates on multiple levels, including visible, hidden, and invisible, and how these dynamics intersect with gender, race, class, and sexuality. Activist leaders and participants bring diverse experiences, create rich conversations that emphasize collective healing, intersectional strategies, as well as dismantling entrenched hierarchies within our movement.
From the journey of me being in this space, I've realized that there are a lot of things that are fighting against my activism journey, and there are a lot of things that I haven't gotten to realize that I need to deal with, and the strategies that have been put in place to make my journey a little bit difficult. And this is something that I never addressed or looked at, and being here has given me an enlightenment to see how the master's house is literally built against me and how to strategize better to find ways of surviving inside it and outside it.
How we speak about these anti-movements that are coming, we are not really acknowledging them and absorbing what this really means for us. I do believe we are confident in our resilience, we are confident in our strength, we are confident in our numbers, but at the same time, I don't think we have really spoken to what are the true dangers, because we don't know them.
So one of the beauties of these 5 days is that we were able to use the House of Multiple Oppression to do a power analysis, looking at power over, but also to think about what does transformative power look like as we build our strength, as we build the way we relate to each other, as we think about the type of leadership that is necessary, as we think about what makes movements work together to defeat systems of oppression that are so pervasive in our context. Visible power always seems to be like the easiest, quickest way of addressing power holders, whether it's the multilateral spaces or our governments. our parliaments, our courts, and so on. And yet what we were able to continuously demonstrate again is that we cannot afford not to think about what shapes norms and beliefs, not to think about how even faith or religion influences the decision makers. I think grappling with that and to think about what's the strategy that's going to change hearts and minds continues to be hard.
We have a bigger goal because we know who the enemy is. We know that the system in its diversity itself is what is the enemy here. As we move in fighting and strategizing in fighting the system and dismantling it, let's not forget as well the foundation of the movement, because you can't build without a foundation.
I think locating each other in our need before we feel threatened, and also for the other movements that are already under threat. How do we learn from those that are still operating, or maybe are no longer operating, or are just about to close? What do we learn from them? And we need to learn quickly. We come into a room, and that room must be for answers and actions.
Movements matter because, we need each other. You can't create change by yourself because you get tired at some point, right? So when you take rest, the other person picks up and moves it to the next step.
It makes a difference between fighting alone and fighting as a movement. Because if you look at those we are fighting against, they are not coming as a single person or a single entity. They are coming as a movement, and they're coming strong. So for me, movement building means you get the support you need from the right places and at the right time. And it also means you get a lot of resources for different things that you require to grow the movement in your some space of organizing.
For me, what's been reaffirmed is the importance of keeping to do this work. And by this work, I mean feminist movement building and strengthening in relation to strategy. We have to, 1 school, 2 schools is never enough, but also thinking about what happens after the school and what is needed for accompaniment to make sure that everyone who participated here and those that couldn't make it to this continue to receive the tools to sharpen the strategy, because only through that can we think about where change is possible.